What is the line for someone becoming an abominable intelligence within the mechanicus? How little of them must remain to be counted amongst their ranks? If a member uploaded his mind into a robot body, what would that make him? That's the idea behind this video. So welcome friends to another 40k video, and let's begin. In this story we jump in when several Kastelan machines have been fighting traitor Astartes alongside a tech priest who is mortally wounded during the conflict and has to upload his mind into one Kastelan's body. Does that make him an AI? It's written from the Kastelan's point of view, and spoilers for By Your Command by Thorpe. In brief, for those that don't know, a Kastelan is a robotic soldier of the mechanicus that must be reprogrammed during combat by a tech priest. And some might be older, and we can guess Dark Age. With hints from the Mechanicus 8th edition codex, it says, as robotic technology stems from an age prior to the foundation of the Imperium, many Forge worlds believe a number of their battle automata survived from those dark times. Now on with the tale. The gunfire stopped, the Kastelan sensors. The tech priest's life signs were almost below detection and falling swiftly. Pulse rate below optimal survival levels, brain activity diminished, blood loss irreversible, thought the Kastelan. A data port clicked open between the chunky fingers. A mechadendrite tipped with a data spike slithered from underneath Datasmith Undra's robes, worming its way up to the outstretched arm to Alpha 6 Terra's hand, and he's uploaded into it. The digital essence of the tech priest flowed like electricity through cables, flooding every part of the robot's artificial nervous system. Data streams slipped alongside engagement protocols and defensive posture equations, nestling roots into logic circuits like fast-growing vines. So great was the accumulation of data that had been the tech priest Undra that it required all of Alpha 6 Terra's primary system space simply to store him there. Temporary programs cycled into dormancy to divert processor power so that some animus could return to the spirit of Datasmith Undra. The Kastelan and the tech priest speak. The priest says, "My soul is within your body, Alpha 6 Terra. You have no Nusfake broadcast system, so I must communicate via your internal systems." The Kastelan says it must continue the battle to destroy, secure, protect. The priest says it must protect him in post-material form. The priest says he must return to the Orphic banks so that my animus can be made safe within a new material form that will be made at that time. The Kastelan Alpha 6 Terra accepts this. The Kastelan tries to enlist the help of others, but he can't speak to them over the new sphere, and so they carry on with just fighting the Astartes, leaving him, the last Kastelan, to protect the priest of the Mechanicus, the member of the Mechanicus. Alpha 6 Terra identifies the shortest route back to save the Datasmith. It encounters heretic Astartes. It bursts through a wall to fire on them. They stand on a gallery above. One falls. They target its leg where the armor was weak. They then use their speed to circle around the Kastelan. Datasmith Undra's urging intercepted Alpha 6 Terra's assault program, so it kept on going rather than being drawn into the fight with the Space Marines. You're built to last beyond one battle, Alpha 6 Terra. Your task is to sustain me for future service to the machine god. The Kastelan considered this. What is the consequence of failure? It asked Undra. I do not understand the question, Alpha 6 Terra. If I should fail you, what will be the consequences? My machine spirit will not be placed in a new form and I will die. What does it mean to die? Death, to be dead. The cessation of physical activity. You have already ceased physical activity. Are you dead? The cessation of physical activity and conscious thought. The robot is injured when hit by armor-piercing weaponry. Damage alerts were now a constant flashing through the Kastelan, a digital shriek that almost overwhelmed all effort at cogitation. But as a follow-up strike targets Skitarii appear to save them. It reports to the tech priest it shares its frame with. Motive forces compromised. Datasmith Undra unable to reach the shrine chamber. Its legs would not move. It was paralysed for the moment. The robot was, in very real terms, dying. Though its body was built by the genius of the Omnissiah's servants, its essence was housed in an organic cortex deep within its armoured frame. From this stemmed all of its thoughts, and in the cells which contain the robot's soul. The robot feels it has failed and asks, what is death? It is the cessation of the physical activity and consciousness. The Kastelan asks, what is the consequence of death? To which the Datasmith responds, the cessation of physical interaction and mental capacity. Only your soul will continue. The Kastelan wonders how, without cortical cells to contain it, how does the soul continue? The member of the mechanicus explains, we are all part of the cosmic engine, Alpha 6 Terra. We continue within the works of the machine god. Alpha 6 Terra tried to comprehend this, but one by one its cogitator banks failed, its defensive systems attempting to conserve power for the cortical life support web. Eventually, Alpha 6 Terra would no longer recognize itself as an entity. It overrode its standard shutdown sequence. It was within a void of sensory nothingness. It asks, how can the dead sustain the great work? How will we remain part of the cosmic engine? A good question, Alpha 6 Terra. Spiritual inertia is the task. Each of us during our life creates movement in the cosmic engine. Our existence is energy, Alpha 6 Terra. The particles of our soul only temporarily assemble in their current configuration. Form is temporary, soul is permanent. The enemies you slew will no longer threaten the cosmic engine with their perversions. The cosmic engine continues to turn because of your efforts, because of your legacy. Yet I have failed in the mission to protect. You have. It is the truth that life always ends in a last failure, for even the great Magos sustained for thousands of years cannot outrun the entropy of existence forever. All things end, and all things cease with defeat at the hands of mortality. That is why soul is greater than flesh and intellect. Alpha 6 Terra wanted to respond to its ability to talk, failed at that time. It seems to experience a moment without thought, and then its master speaks to it again, and it learns it still lives. Its physical control is slaved to the member of the mechanicus. He says it saved him by diverting some of its energy to keep his digital soul alive, and so it accomplished its mission in that way. With the sensors down, the Skitarii returned and moved the Kastelan's body with the soul of the mechanicus within. But it's still in his body, as in preserving my soul, patterns in your systems. You imprinted me onto your neural and cortical circuitry, the Datasmith explained. There is no process that will remove me without wiping out your highest functioning state. It doesn't understand, and so it's explained. If I leave this form, your spirit pattern will cease to exist. You will suffer permadeath. It asks if it must die, and the Datasmith says, no. Your sacrifice is not required, Alpha 6 Terra. Our body will be upgraded with relevant noospheric systems so that I can continue to operate as Datasmith to the maniple. You will not control any motor functions unless my soul pattern is somehow incapacitated, but your spirit will live on within me, as I live within your form. Indivisible. Yes, Alpha 6 Terra, the cosmic engine turned, and we shall continue upon it together by your command. And that's where the story ends. So what do we make of this? Was the digital soul within this robot making the member of the mechanicus an AI? We get no sense of any issue of him popping in there, no remorse or fear, and it was this line that confirmed for me that it wasn't an abominable intelligence when Umbra, the Datasmith, uploaded his mind into the robot. We are told its essence was housed in an organic cortex deep within its armoured frame. In other words, this robot has some fleshy parts as the mechanicus have within machine spirits and within themselves. So despite the loss of body, I think there was enough within the Kastelan that this was not an abominable intelligence, that the spirit of the Datasmith could live on in there happily, joined with the Kastelan, Alpha 6 Terra. And that's where I'll wrap up today's video. I hope you found this interesting. It's a pretty cool little short story that I just happened to come across. Let me know what you think to this lore. And if you like this video on 40k, then oh my friend, why not try this one?